Guys, today we're going to read The Diary of an Awesome Friendly Kid by Jeff Kinney, Raleigh Jefferson's Journal. The time I realized maybe Greg doesn't always tell the truth. So after that time me and Greg were study partners, I asked him how the heck he laid that egg, and he told me he can lay any kind of egg he wants. And I said, okay, then lay an ostrich egg. And he said for that he need to eat a lot of potato chips, and he took some of mine. Munch. But a few days later, when I stopped by Greg's house to pick him up for school, his mom gave him an egg for his lunch. And then I remembered Greg always has a hard-boiled egg for lunch. And so he must have had one in his coat pocket the night we studied together. Well, that made me start to wonder if some other stuff I knew about Greg isn't true. We've been best friends a long time, and he told me a bunch of things that seem a little sharky. So now I'm kind of thinking not everything he told me is 100% accurate. Here are a few things I'm starting to wonder about. 1. Greg says he is dating a supermodel, but they have to keep a secret since her career would get ruined if people would find out she was dating a middle school kid. Greg said, whenever she goes on TV, she sends him secret messages by Blink. I miss you too. 2. Greg says that one time he threw a frisbee and the wind took it so far that it went all the way around the world and hit him in the back of the head. So that's why he won't play sports anymore. Ow! Bonk. Greg said that the star on the dial pad of a phone is really snowflake, and it's a direct line to the North Pole. So whenever I do something Greg doesn't like, he tells me he's gonna report me to Santa. 4. Greg says that when he was a baby, his mom brought him to a modeling agency and they took some pictures for diaper cream ads. Greg said the ads never ran in the United States, but that if he went to China, he'd get totally mauled. 5. Greg says that he came up with the defense chant at basketball games, and every time a crowd says it, he gets $100 sent to his bank account. Defense! Ka-ching. 6. Greg says he's 500 years old, but he doesn't age, and he 500 years old, but he doesn't age, and he has to move every few years so no one will figure it out. He says he knew Abraham Lincoln in middle school, and he was kind of a jerk. CC. 7. Greg says there's a form you can fill out at town hall to legally adopt any kid you want. And that he adopted me, so now I have to whatever he tells me. Get me some snacks, son. 8. Greg says that he can turn into any form of water whenever he wants. But when I asked him to turn into a glass of water, he said the last time he did that, Roderick drank him and it took 2 days to get back to human form. Flush. Greg says he only used 5% of his brain. And if he wanted to, he could liberate a building with his mind. I said maybe I should liberate a building too, but he said probably not because I'm already using 100% of my brain. Shoot. 10. Speaking of brains, Greg says he's got ESP and he always knew what I'm gonna do before I do it. That one might actually be true because I've seen him do it a bunch of times. I knew you were about to lick that popsicle. Whoa. Anyway, I'm guessing at least half this stuff is made up. But I'm just writing it down here in case it isn't. And for the record, Greg's been eating a lot of my potato chips over the last 3 weeks and there's still no ostrich egg. The time me and Greg came up with our own superhero. Okay, this is probably gonna be the best chapter in this book because it's the only one that's got superheroes on it. And I hope I didn't spoil the surprise. But even if I did, trust me, it's still gonna be a pretty good chapter. This one day, it was raining, so me and Greg couldn't go outside. And Greg wasn't allowed to play video games because he lost his temper playing Twisted Wizard. Crunch. Mrs. Hapley said, kids our age spend too much time in front of screens anyway, and it was good for us to take a break. Then she gave us some markers and a sketchbook, and he told us we should use our imagination and make up our own comics like we used to. Well, the last time me and Greg made some comics together, it didn't turn out so good for me. And if you don't know, if you don't know the whole story, then I'll give you the short version. In our first year of middle school, me and Greg worked on a comic together called Zooey Mama. But then Greg got bored, so it bored of it and said I should do it by myself. And then my comic got in the school paper and Greg was mad at me even though he's the one who told me I should do it. Then we got in a big fight in front of the whole school and some teenagers came out of nowhere and they caught me and Greg. And they made me eat a piece of cheese that was on the blacktop. I still can't eat pizza or mozzarella sticks or anything else with cheese in it. But Greg said I needed to get over it because that happened a long time ago. Jack. So anyway, when I opened that sketchbook, Mrs. Happily gave us, there were a bunch of Zooey Mamas in there that we never turned into the school paper. Greg said I should put them in here because they were gonna be worthless a lot of money when he gets famous. Merry Christmas, Skugla. It's 2 million BC and Christmas hasn't even been invented yet. Zooey Mama. I finally finished my masterpiece. It's time to show to the world. You dummy, it won't fit through the door. Zooey Mama. Okay, so, sir, I tore down your house. That'll be $1 million. What? I left a note on the door that said, do not tear down my house. Okay, oops, I guess your note got wet. Zooey Mama! Uh-oh, Joey's sleepwalking again. We should wake up him again. Zzz. I heard it's a bad idea to wake up someone who's sleepwalking. But we are camping on a cliff. Zooey Mama! Zzz. The bank robber made off with $30,000. Bank robbery, News 5. Police have released a sketch of the suspect based on witness descriptions. Zooey Mama! Police sketch. I've invented a new ray gun. Well, what does it do? It makes everything go backward. Yeah, right. Zap. Ama, iwi, ooze. Rawr, I'm gonna eat you. A talking bear? I must be in a dream. Yeah, well, guess what? A bear is about to eat you in your life. Zooey Mama. I found it. The legendary Trichus Atelius, the parasite insect. Rarest insect on earth. And my son is here to see me capture it. Munch. Zooey Mama. I told Greg maybe we should write some more Zooey Mamas. But he said that joke is stale. And we needed to come up with something new. And then Greg had an awesome idea. He said we should create our own superhero. Well, I liked that idea a lot because it sounded fun. But Greg said that he didn't care about having fun. He just cared about the money. Greg said that if you came up with a superhero, then you can sell the movie right and sit back and wait for the money to roll in. Then we started talking about what we do all the money we were gonna make from our superhero idea. I said I'd go to the toy aisle at the store and I'd fill up a shopping cart with as many toys as I could fit. But Greg said I wasn't thinking big enough. He said he'd buy the whole store and wear a different pair of sneakers every day, and he'd leave in the snacks aside. Then I said I'd buy a fancy sports car and I'd give Miss Beck a ride to school every morning. Greg said we're gonna be so rich we could buy the whole school and fire all the teachers and have epic paintball fights in the hallways. I said maybe we shouldn't fire all of the teachers because Miss Beck is really nice and she's good at teaching math. Greg said we'd be so rich we wouldn't need to learn math anymore, but we could keep Miss Beck around because we need someone to count our money for us. And I guess that made me feel a little better. Greg said we had plenty of time to figure out what we were gonna do with all our money later. But right now, it was time to get serious about this superhero idea. Greg said the first thing we needed to do was figure out what kind of powers our superheroes should have. I said maybe he could fly or have super strength, but Greg said both of those ideas were dumb because they've been done a million times before. Then I said maybe your superhero could have X-ray visions, but Greg said that wasn't a good superpower because once he accidentally saw his grandpa necked and he wishes he hadn't. Greg said we needed to do something original, and we started coming up with ideas that no one ever thought of it before. And the ideas we came up with were okay, but not great. The knot stir, pollen lady, sneeze, cough, diaper whip, cruncher, crunch, the squisher. The one we liked the best was this guy called the Chuckster who could throw his own head like a football. Ha ha, I got away. Oh, did you? The Chuckster. But Greg said the Chuckster wouldn't work as an action figure because the head would be a chalking hazard for little kids. Then we tried to come up with some characters that would be okay if a kid accidentally swallowed them. But most of our ideas weren't that good. Cheese stick boy, chicken finger lady. Greg said moms are usually the ones who buy their kids toys. We should came up with something they'd like, but we weren't happy with that idea. Healthy snacks man. Foom, foom, foom. Yum! Greg said maybe the reason we weren't coming up with anything good was that we weren't a very good team. He said we should each try working on our own and see who could came up with a better idea. We both did our own thing, and then we showed each other our work. Greg's superhero was a guy from space who had a different kind of power in every fingertip, which was actually a pretty awesome idea. Intelligent man. Quack. I told Greg his idea was cool and we should go with that. Then Greg said, well, what's your idea? But I didn't want to tell him because I knew he'd laugh. And then he promised he wouldn't laugh, so I showed him my character. Amazing Guy. Greg asked what Amazing Guy's superhero was, and I said it was kindness. And that made Greg break his promise about not laughing. Ha ha ha. Greg said a superhero could be edgy. And it should be cool if Amazing Guy had knives coming out of his knuckles and wore a black leather jacket and said swears when he fights the bad guys. But I said I wanted Amazing Guy to be a role model for children, and that made Greg break his promise a second time. Pound pound, ha ha ha. I told Greg if he didn't like my character, that was fine, but I wasn't giving him any money. I sold the movie rights. And all of a sudden, Greg got real interested in Amazing Guy. And said if I get rich, I owe him half the money because I use his markers and papers. I said that wasn't true, and Greg said he called his lawyer to find out. Then Greg dialed a number on the phone, and I listened in on his half of the conversation. Yeah, they're my markers. 50%? Okay, that's what I thought. Then Greg hung up the phone. I told him to call his lawyer back, because I wanted to ask him a few questions. But Greg said I couldn't afford his lawyer, and I had to get my own. Greg says since we were gonna split things 50-50, then we were equal partners, and we needed to work together. I said fine, but I still don't want Amazing Guys to say swears, and Greg said okay, we'll talk about that later. Greg said the first thing we needed to do was give Amazing Guy an origin story to show how it got his powers. Then he told me how other superheroes got their powers. Zeptron Black. I said Amazing Guy just had good parents who raised him to be a nice person, and that's why he divided when he grew up. He'd fight for people who needed his help. But Greg said that's a terrible origin story. He said something exciting needed to happen, like Amazing Guy gets hit by a meteor or gets bitten by a radioactive bug or something like that. And I said okay, fine. Then Amazing Guy gets hit by a double rainbow, and that's how he gets his powers. Greg said that didn't make sense, but he said he didn't feel like getting into a dumb argument about rainbows, so we'd come back to the origin story later on too. Greg said every good superhero has a secret identity. So we needed to come up with one for Amazing Guy. I said he could be a nurse at an urgent care clinic where he gets off work at 6 p.m. He becomes Amazing Guy and helps people until his bedtime. And no one knows his secret identity, not even Nurse Beck, who works with him at the urgent care place. Greg said I got the name from Miss Beck, our math teacher, but I said nope, it's just a coincidence. Greg said we were wasting too much time talking about stupid stuff, and we needed to design Amazing Guy's suit. I said I liked the suit I came up with just fine, but Greg said it was stupid because everyone could tell who he was if they saw him walking around in regular life. Greg said Amazing Guy needed a mask, so he drew one that looked pretty awesome. And he added a cape too. Then Greg said if Amazing Guy doesn't have any real powers, then maybe his suit could have powers. But I said Amazing Guy had the power of kindness. Any gloves are padded, so he doesn't hurt the bad guys too much. I said I wanted to do all the drawings, and Greg said that's fine, but he do the writing. So I drew this awesome scene where Amazing Guy had to leave work early to go fight some bad guys, and I filled space for Greg to fill in the words. Bah. Yeah. You. Pow, pow. Pat, pat. We got the X-ray back, and yes, it's a signal. But what about my arm? Nurse, come back. You dummy, you could have used the door. I'll rescue you, friend. It's okay, we're just hanging out and having fun. Leave him alone, you street punks. You are using words that hurt. Hey, take it easy, pal. My dad gave me this bat for my birthday. So, boy, that guy wasn't so amazing. I thought he was kind of a jerk. I saved you from those ducks. Those guys were my friends, Pet. I told Greg he totally messed up my comic, and that from now on, I do the drawing and the writing. Then Greg said he was gonna call his lawyer again. I said, go right away. And even when he said he was gonna call Santa, I wouldn't budge. Greg said he didn't went to write for my stupid comic anyway because my superhero was terrible, and he said he was just gonna write Intelligent Man comics, and I said fine because my character was better. Then Greg said if Intelligent Man got in a fight with Amazing Guy, he'd wipe him out in like 5 seconds. And I said, oh yeah, let's see about that. So when we drew this battle and he drew his superhero and I drew mine, we meet for the very first time, Amazing Guy. Hi! There are so many ways I could destroy you. Which power shall I choose? Ice freeze. Rainbow block. Okay, fine. Laser finger. Zap. Rainbow block again. Hey, you can't use the same power twice in a row. That's all I really needed to fight you. Okay, then prepare for me to unleash my full powers. Fire blast. Electroshock. Stone riser. Maha ha. Prepare to meet your doom. Crackle, crackle. Summing the power up. Kindness. No. So, the end. I guess I got a little carried away with the last drawing because after I drew it, Greg said it was probably time for me to go home. Pen. Maybe next time I won't have Amazing Guy using his full powers on his enemies because I wouldn't want his parents or nurse back to be disappointed in me. Okay, guys, today was the Diary of Not So Friendly Kid by Jeff Kinney, Robert Jefferson's Journal. Okay, guys, bye-bye. See you on the next time. Please like and subscribe.